To market news now, and the local index is firmer while the rand seemed slightly muted this morning. The rand was marginally firmer yesterday after the South African Reserve Bank left those interest rates unchanged as expected. Chief Investment Officer and founder at Makwe Fund Managers, Makwe Masilela, joins us now for a market overview. Makwe, good morning to you and welcome as always to the program. Let's start as we usually do with an overview of how the markets are faring this morning.
Morning, and we managed to open in the positive territory, as we've seen also our peers doing the same thing. And I think markets are not even worried about the comments that we made yesterday night by one of the Fed officials indicating that we don't have to rush into cutting interest rates. Remember, the Bank of England also said the same thing, one of their officials. And yesterday as well, our Reserve Bank governor indicated, given that inflation continues to be sticky, that we should expect cuts much later, not as early as we thought, but markets are not worried about that. We're looking forward to the numbers that will be released by the U.S. Fed tomorrow, though markets will be closed. That is their preferred gauge of inflation to get more clues when it comes to interest rate cuts going forward.
All right, so this week also, Makwe, marking the end of the quarter. Talk us through how South Africa has performed all the way from stocks to bonds.
We've not done well compared to our peers. If you look into global markets, take the well-known ones, S&P and the Dow, they're up over 10%, stuff like that. But with us, the JCS we're talking now is down almost 2.5% for the quarter. The rand weakened almost 2%. Oil prices, I don't know whether we call it ours or not, but at least it has done well. It's up 13%. Gold up as well, 7%. And what has been driving the markets is the expectations that we'll expect to see interest rate cuts happening as earlier as March. Then we start moving there. That will happen in June. But if you look into the JSE and what happened in just the previous month, March as it is now, we're in the positive, up just over 2%. But January and February didn't do that great. But now we're worried about this whole thing that people are starting to say it might be too early to think about cutting interest rates, whether that means that the music has to stop or is a question of lowering the volume.
Well, let's talk about African Bank then. Next, they've obtained shareholder approval, and this is for the implementation of their employee share ownership scheme. And it seems African Bank, Makwe, has really come full circle.
Definitely, that's a very nice story. Remember, the guys were in trouble. They had to be bailed out. But as it stands now, the guys have managed to get it right. And I think it's not right to talk about personalities, but I think it's worth mentioning that their CEO is just continuing to prove himself that it's a bank material CEO. Remember, the guy was once with a Standard Bank or Absas, and he was overlooked there as a CEO. But so far, he's doing a great job with his team. Look what they did. They also bought some of the Green Road Bank, which is positioning them well when it comes to the business banking, and also the guys are buying some of Sesfin commercial property loan book and what do you call it, commercial equipment financing part of things. So the guys are really getting themselves ready when they list next year, and definitely you need to reward your employees, especially when you start listing on the JSE. So approving that employee share scheme is a wise step.
All right, let's go to the legacies next, Makwe. South African Corporate Real Estate. It's one of the country's oldest JSE-listed property companies, and they are eyeing further expansion in the multifamily residential market. Talk us through those developments.
And doing well when it comes to that part, that sector. I mean, if you look into the vacancies thereof, the rental vacancies, they're just around 4.2%. If you look into total vacancies, just around 4.2%. The traditional portfolio vacancies around 2%. The guys managed to increase their revenue by 21%, operating profit up a whopping 71%, even though profits and headline earnings per share are down 25%, and also the distributable income is only down 4%. But as I say, they are expanding nicely, and that will bode well for them as people look to be closer to work.
Makwe Masilela, thank you as always for joining us and sharing your thoughts on the market. We appreciate it.